thinking that I could have done something, but now I'm left with an empty heart. No making amends, no waking up beside you and holding you till we forget it all. Oh, baby. How could I know there was no second chances? Like dominoes, my life got really scattered. You couldn't keep the door shut, and now the frostbite's creeping in. 'Cause I've been stone cold since you left me here. So come home, why won't you reappear? Things that I said came out totally wrong. Can't speak of the truth when it's tainted. I fell into a big black hole. It got me stone cold.
You got anything to say to me?
Happy Father's Day.
There you go. Yes. Happy Father's Day. What are you doing today?
I'll do some SCs, I think.
Okay.
Maybe 2 Akunas.
2 little Cooners, and then we're going to talk about some jerseys. So obviously we've got the tours underway here, kids. But shout out to SBS's coverage, which has been bloody good. Loving Bridie, Robbie, and Matt. But I will say this. So I don't watch it stay up live or anything like that. I watch the hour highlights package.
But my trick to avoid spoilers, because the app is not really a spoiler-free viewing experience. So once it's aired on TV, the hour highlights package will appear in the app, but there's no easy way to scroll to it without seeing, well, some clues as to what's happened in the race.
So my trick is kind of blur your eyes a bit, like go a bit cross-eyed.
Blur your eyes, and what I've found is the iPhone is different to the iPad. So the iPad will put the highlights package towards the bottom of the videos, the iPhone will put it towards the top. And so that's your clue. Don't look anywhere else because you might see something you don't want to see.
Then you're sweet. And stay off social media, obviously. What do? You just record it, do you?
Yeah, recording on the bench.
Oh, okay.
I'll get your partner to choose the video.
So I was having a Zoom chat with some of the blokes I go to school with. One of them was just getting into riding, and he was watching that video. We were riding up here. I was on Jesse's wheel, and we're talking about the tubeless stuff, okay? And he asked me a really, what I thought was obvious question, but he kind of said, well, okay, so you had Jesse's numbers displayed that day. Like, what were you doing? Like, is it different for you? And I had to sort of explain that, yeah, well, I'm lighter, so I don't have to do as much. And yeah, it was kind of what I thought a pretty obvious statement, but he was like, oh, really? Okay, so how much less? Well, wasn't really able to tell him. So I thought what we might do, we're doing a couple of reps of Akuna now, and I will put both our powers up and just have a little look. So I'm 64 now, all muscle though, all muscle. What are you tipping the scales at, Jesse? 76. So let's call it 11 kilos difference. And we'll ride up the steep section, have a little look. Yes, he's riding a low gear. I'm not going down that rabbit warren again. Shut up, Dan.
All right, let's get into this. I reckon you guys will find this kind of interesting, actually. So top left, we have the big bopper himself. Jesse's up there. I'm down the bottom right. Now, obviously, I want you guys to keep an eye on the power differences as we go along and as it plays out with the gradient there. We're pretty well in sync. We're pretty close to in sync. Now here comes the first real sort of steep section of the climb. You can straight away see right on that steep section that Jesse's numbers jumped, let's say 60 to 70 watts higher than mine, okay? And as it sort of comes back down to this 8, 7, 6%, we're going to see a difference around 50 watts. It's a pretty gradual climb from this point on, and you will probably hopefully see around a 50 watt difference. I should add with this part of the climb itself as well, that it's kind of a rough road surface, which I don't know about you guys, but it does affect a lighter rider far more than it does a heavier rider. I'm trying as much as possible to not get a sit and try and film and try and be in position to be able to get something. Now let's just fast forward a little bit further along to the last 200 meters of the steep section of the climb to give us another really good look at this. So there we go, we jump up to 9% again, and anytime we go sort of above the 8-9%, you'll probably see Jesse's numbers jump into the 4s, whereas mine kind of tend to stay around the 3-5s, which is pretty much what I'll average for this climb. So as we top that climb out, just over sort of 4 minutes, it showed up as a pretty much a 50 watt difference between the two of us over that 7, 8, 9% gradient. But guys, what happens when it flattens out? And this is really something that I do want to show you. So those of you who know this climb know that there's sort of a 7-8 minute segment as you continue along, but the top of it is really just a flat drag, as you can kind of see, 2-3% as we go along, a big ring drag. And what does that do to the power numbers? Well, let's have a look. And what you'll probably see is that I'm still having, I'm getting a sit here, like we're doing 30 k's an hour, but I'm still having to do the sort of 330, 340 watts to stay in position. So if I came around Jesse here, I'd have to put out even more than that. So the full segment, just under 8 minutes, I'm pretty much having to do the same amount of power to stay in the wheel, whereas Jesse's power's dropped down and he's going at the same speed. So it just kind of shows that what's per kilo is not necessarily the whole thing. If you've got power and you're making your bike go fast, then, well, the weight thing's not a big deal. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. If you'd like to see more comparison stuff with the training and all that kind of stuff, do let us know down below if you've got any questions. And obviously, a lot of this is just us out on the road having a go, having some fun. So obviously, take most of it with a grain of salt.
What'd you get me for Father's Day? You realised
Big surprise coming up.
Big surprise. Actually, I had something to... Yeah, we'll chat up here. So here's my chat for you. Well, it's not my chat, but it's my question. What are you seeing tech-wise at the tour so far that you are liking / surprised by? So I'm going to start us off. I'm loving UAE Emirates running these wheels. Full tubeless, just these wheels. I reckon that's super cool. Any other teams running tubeless? I don't know the answer to that. Would be interested to know.
I reckon they're all getting their fueling right, which is why they're racing from start to finish at these stages. Because I reckon 10, 15 years ago, the riders couldn't do it because they just bombed. Because I reckon everyone knows exactly how many grams of carbs to eat, and they're just on the gas all day.
Yeah.
Because you took a Bora on that stage the other night, right?
Yeah.
That was
epic.
4 hours of chopping off.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Rim, I reckon there's slightly more rim brakes, whereas a few races ago it was almost all disc. So UAE.
You look at these races, I'm sorry, but the wheel changes on disc. Unless you are doing a bike swap, it's a stitch up. They must be absolutely, you said this earlier, like destroying threads with that gun. Like, holy
Not even line up, just
chuck it in.
Stripping the bolts like left, right, center.
Bloody hell. I'm like, we're not doing bike changes. We're an amateur bike racing team. It's ridiculous. Skin suits.
Yeah, it's really weird to see someone in jersey and mix now. You're like, oh,
it's just skinny. White shoes, white socks has dominated the pillow. A couple of years ago, there was definitely a push for like black socks, coloured shoes. No, we're all going back to full like pro spec white on white. Even the jerseys, you're seeing a lot of white in the pillow. Everyone's still using stem notes. I still don't get this. Like, you have bike computers. Why on the Soigniers putting this, like we do that? We put the stages on our like computers. I don't understand why they still run stem notes. Speaking of which, trying out the Garmin again. They've done a firmware update, so see how stable it is.
I don't know how you swap between head units. That'd just kill me. It's amazing.
I reckon sometimes people think, oh, pros are just really good because they've got all day to train. Well, basically a lot of these guys weren't able to train for months, had a 6-week block, and they're back to being mutants again. It's like, no, they're actually just incredibly talented athletes that also have time to train.
Really good NRS rider like Jimmy Whelan move up.
Yeah.
And he's doing pretty well, but then you see these super talents
Yeah.
just blow through at
Yeah.
19 years old.
Can we
Top of the field.
Yeah,
It's
can we discuss
crazy.
Quinn Simmons at some point?
Yeah.
Anyone watch Tour of Hungary? He spent like 3 days on the front, and then on the last day on the climb, oh, there he is, smashing it away. But see, I wonder whether these guys then will have long careers. Like if you're Quinn Simmons, are you going to be Chris Froome at 35? I don't know. Do you think? Well,
If you're that talented to get that good that fast.
but maybe they plateau quicker. I don't know. I'm just shooting stuff out here. I better put this away. This is quite dangerous. Do you listen to the Bradley Wiggins podcast?
No.
The latest Bradley Wiggins one from the crosswind stage. Holy hell. Opens up about like motivating himself to race, like how he like made Cadell out to be this demon just to like train harder, if that makes sense. It's pretty cool actually.
Is it the breakaway? Is that what it's
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't get me anything. He didn't get me anything. Two things, actually, no, three things. Three things before we go, guys. The first is the jersey competition. I know I said in the beginning that I would personally choose the winner myself. You only had to impress me. Well, I'm struggling to choose the winner. So I've asked for some outside help. Please do be patient with me. Next couple of days, we'll announce the winners for it, guys. I was actually saying this to Jesse on the road.
Well, interestingly, a lot of people kept like the same theme as the team kit. Like most people sort of stayed on our brand as such. Which it's cool.
You've given us your thoughts on Nero, and it's really interesting to see that in a graphical, illustrated sense. So guys, again, thank you very much. We will announce the winners ASAP, and then we will get the pre-sale going for that jersey. Second thing, I'm working on 2 videos at the moment. The first one is the Devel one, and the second one is really look at mechanical group sets and our experience of running mechanical and racing mechanical this year. So with that in mind, I'd be really interested in your thoughts, your suggestions, your questions about those 2 subjects, because I'm kind of going to put the finishing touches on them in the next couple of weeks. So do let me know if there's anything in those particular subjects that you'd like to hear about. And finally, guys, I don't know if a sort of shout out seems inappropriate. What am I talking about? The fires that are going on in California at the moment. Fun fact, we were actually meant to be in California at the moment to see Julie and the rest of Liz's family. We're all going to meet there, kind of a halfway house between here and Ireland, and she has family there as well. And you guys have seen in the past that we've done videos in there. Well, when I was there last time, I met Tyler, the vegan cyclist, and those fires are going on just around him in Bass Lake, Huntington Lake, all that area, those amazing, epic, beautiful parts of the world. Guys, having lived through that this summer here in Australia, I hope you guys are safe. Tyler, you and the family are safe, and same to you, Julie and Bob. So with that in mind, guys, peace out. Hope to see you very soon. Do let us know your thoughts on those upcoming videos, and well, stay safe, hey?
Like swapping between shoes and 10 units.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the Sydney Harbour Bridge currently on. For those of you who are blind, that's where we live. Over there.
Content's going.
This is great content. This is the bit at the end. It's trying to kill the battery here. Literally all I'm doing. I like this little setup though. That's a win.